Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Lene's World, and we are back for a top 5 moments in Love and Death, the HBO miniseries that just premiered, and we are on episode 4. Okay, so once again, we're only gonna do the top 5 moments that I feel were detrimental to the episode. And as I always encourage, if you guys feel like I'm missing a moment or some shit should be swapped out for whatever the case may be, let me know. Because I love discussion, I love banter, I love all that shit below in the comments, that is. So yeah, so please comment. Let's go ahead and get into it. We ain't gonna hold you. Number 1 for me was, and when I say number 1, I mean like number 1, like as far as in like, not saying it's the top moment of the show, but for me, I'm just saying number 1, because top 5 is the number 1 moment for me always, just in case you guys don't know. But number 1 would be the continuation of Betty confronting Candy about the affair with Allen. So yeah, so we pick up right where we left off. I was kind of surprised because I was like, okay, they're gonna try to do some other shit and then come back, but no, they pick right up. And like I said from our previous review, I can't understand why Candy would still be sitting her ass there as if nothing is going on. Okay, but nonetheless, she sits there, and then Betty comes on down, but she comes in with the axe, and then Candy's like, what's going on? Like, Betty, like, calm down. And so for a second, Betty did compose herself, okay, and she put the axe down, okay, because let's not forget why Candy is even over there. She's over there because she came to get the swimsuit for Alyssa, which is Betty's daughter, because Alyssa's been over Betty's house for the last couple of days, right? So she came to get the bathing suit because she got a whole little meeting in the morning, right? So of course Betty's like, no. Betty said no, because I think Candy had said, I'm gonna go ahead and bring Alyssa back to the house and blah blah blah, yada yada. Betty was like, no, bitch, what you gonna do is keep my daughter, but guess what, I don't want to ever see you again in my fucking life, bitch, at the church, in my house, with my husband hoe and passing. I don't want to see you ever again, right? That's what Betty tells Candy, right? So I said, okay, cool. I said, yeah, put the axe down. So she put the axe down. I said, who? Sigh of relief, right? So she walks off because she's going to get the other stuff for her daughter and whatnot, and this and that. So of course, Candy can breathe a sigh of relief. Whew. She can breathe a sigh of relief. So she goes into the washroom to get the bathing suit and to get all of that. And she turned around, and here we see fucking Betty at her back. Here you go, bitch, you scared me. Calm down. So she gives her that. And then this is where I feel like you are a dumb bitch. This is where I can't stand Candy, because Candy one of them weird assholes where you're gonna fuck somebody else's husband, right? Not only are you fucking someone else's husband, but you in that person's face, okay? You in that husband's wife's face ever so effortlessly, as if like you don't know that you fucking their husband, right? That pisses me off with hoes. And for the ones who think it's funny and cute to be like thinking quote unquote you stealing somebody else, man, you look dumb as fuck, and watch you gonna die alone. So back on topic. So yeah, so I think the fuck up was when Candy, when she in this lady's face, and she proceeds to reach her fucking arm out to touch Betty and to tell her it's gonna be okay. Now as she's reaching in to touch Betty, Betty's like, you know, she move her shoulder like, bitch, move, like, I don't know, like, what you doing. But and then Candy proceeds to say, I'm so sorry about what happened. And that's when Betty snapped. And as a woman, I can see, granted, I ain't missing no marbles upstairs, so I ain't gonna kill that hoe. I ain't gonna kill Candy, but I can see why Betty would snap. Like, bitch, you not sorry about fucking my nigga, because if you were sorry about fucking my nigga, you would have never fucked him in the first place. So all that, I'm so sorry about, because it's like, bitch, you feel sorry for me? Like, yeah, I'm going through it. I can't think straight because of you dirty bitch. So the fact that you even touch me and tell him about something you so sorry, well, bitch, you ain't sorry about shit. You only sorry about because that nigga don't want to fuck you no more, and that you feel insecure and that you feel like, oh, I feel rejected. But you don't feel sorry about fucking this nigga and fucking up his family household. But go off, sis. So that's when Betty snaps, and Betty said, "Bitch, what an accent?" Cause this whole think I'm playing. She ain't say all that, but we can tell like she snapped when you did that, because it was like you was scot-free. I feel like if Candy would have never touched her and said I'm sorry, she would have been scot-free out that goddamn house to go on about her business and bring the little girl back whenever they done with the bullshit, right? But she want to be so fake as hell and tell this lady you sorry for fucking her husband when you not. So yeah, that go ahead and rolls into Betty saying, I can't let you take him. And they go into a fight for the axe. And as we already know, Betty ain't the winner, okay? Because she end up on the floor, gone, right? So that's pretty much the number one top scene. Not top, but on the list, it's number one. So yeah, pretty much Candy overpowers Betty and get the axe and proceed to chop her up. Now, my thing is that, because I said, okay, if it's self-defense, if you're trying to get someone off of you, I don't see me like, they said she was chopped up, stabbed or hit 41 times. 41 times, that's a lot for you to be trying to do self-defense. Like, get it. She came at you first with the axe, but once you got it back, I'm gonna chop your pinky toe off and you gonna sit down. Cause one chop and one hit with the axe, I don't think nobody else trying to go in combat. Let me tell it. Cause you can swing at me one time with the axe and I'm done. But anyway, that's number one. Number two for me, would be Candy covering her tracks and tries to act like everything is normal. That kind of pissed me off a little bit, because I'm like, if it was self-defense and you felt like you was like for real fighting for yourself, I would have called them false after I done. But then again, you not chopped this whole 41 times, damn near. They're gonna be like, self-defense how? But anyway, go. The fact that you took a shower apparently there in Betty's house, and then once you got back home, because of course, at first I didn't know what she was doing. I was like, why are you fucking washing clothes, bitch? Burn them hoes. Like, I was like, what is she washing shit? Like, I thought we supposed to get rid of evidence, but I didn't even think about it. She was trying to make sure she covered her shit, her tracks, because she was like, I'm in the same outfit, the same everything, nothing's different. I'm okay, like, because of course she was at church and she had told people that she was going to Betty's house to get the swimsuit. So of course you couldn't change that up. So she was pretty much like, yeah, I went to Betty's house. So that's why she had to go home, wash her outfit, do all that shit, dry it, put it back on like nothing happened. Right? But that kind of pissed me off, because I'm like, granted, we know when people get into deep shit, trouble, they got trauma, they be so, PTSD, they don't know what happened and blah, blah, blah. But this scene, I was like, maybe we shouldn't have said we went to Betty's house. Maybe we said we got sidetracked. I never made it to Betty's house. But I guess you gotta say that shit, because bitch, we saw your fucking fat ass wagon, the nasty ass car you drive around. So it was like, you gotta cover your tracks. But it was kind of annoying, because if you guys noticed, when she came back to the church and she was trying to explain like what, like why was she late, why did she miss the puppet show, nobody really gave a fuck. It was her being so fucking nervous and like willing to tell this story by any means. I just said, bitch, where you been? And you come with, oh yeah, I went to Target and and I noticed my watch stopped. I asked somebody for the time, then I saw it was late and I made it back. It's just so fucking rehearsed to me. I just feel like, just be ice cool, be ice cold, okay? Be ice cool. Like, we can't be doing all the extra shit. But that was number two for me, okay? Number three would be when Allen calls the neighbors to get in the house by any fucking means necessary. Now, from the very beginning of the episode, we saw that Allen has been trying to call the house ever since he left, because we know Betty's already going through it. She's upset her husband gone, he traveled so much, and blah blah blah. So even with that going on, Allen knows that my wife will still pick up the phone and talk to me. Like, it can't just be that. So literally every step of the way, Allen has been calling this goddamn house phone. Unbeknownst to him, when he called the house phone for the very first time, your wife is actually getting chopped up. Unbeknownst to him. But we see that he really cares for his wife. So he's like, what's going on? So after he even calls Candy ass to be like, I'm trying to call Betty, she answered the phone, do you know what's going on? And even after, Candy was like, yeah, I saw that bitch early this morning when I went to go pick up the bathing suit and whatnot for your daughter. And even then, like, it's still like, what's going on? Still calm, right? I always wondered, like, when he found out that his wife was murdered, I want to know, did an inkling, did a sharp pain go to Candy? Did it off top? Like, especially, you know, she's the last person that saw your wife alive. My head be off top going to, this bitch done killed my wife. But nonetheless, let's get back on topic. So, Allen been calling out all the neighbors, okay, in the vicinity. So, one neighbor goes outside, and he didn't even realize that Allen had called other neighbors. And they're like, what you outside for? He was like, Allen called me about Betty. And they're like, yeah, he called us all too. So, they go in, try to figure out how to get in that bitch. Unbeknownst to them, ain't no shit locked. You ain't got to bust in because the front door open. Because this bitch ran out earlier, right? They go in. They check all the rooms, and it's dark as hell inside. And they find a baby, and then they go into the laundry room and find that Betty is on the floor out of this bitch, right? So now it's like a whole big thing, like, what the hell? Now, I don't understand how these people get she's been shot, and I'm like, nothing about her shows shot. But that's me, right? And I'm like, even if I'm a newbie, I ain't never seen no dead body, I'm like, that bitch ain't been shot. That bitch arm hanging on by a thread. What gun gonna do that? I mean, a pump. But bitch, I'm blowing out your insides with a pump. I ain't blowing your fucking elbow cap, your kneecap out. Anyway, so yeah, guys, that was number 3 for me, because Allen, the whole episode, we saw Allen pretty much on the phone. And on the phone, what he was doing was trying to call his wife, because he knew something was wrong. He knew she mad at me for leaving, but she would never not answer the phone when I'm calling her, okay? So, which leads into number 4. Let's go. Candy goes down to the police station. Okay? This bitch, because I feel like she's weird anyway, being in somebody else's face, being in the bitch face who husband you fucked weekly on a routine is wild to me. But she never ceased to amaze me, because she's a fucking serial killer. Not serial killer, look at me trying to make her be the worst of worst. But yeah, to me, you're worst of worst, because I can't stand hoes who know niggas got bitches, but they so adamant about, let me go be that person and blah blah blah. So that's Candy to me. I have no fucking empathy, sympathy, none of that shit for that hoe. So if you got empathy for this bitch and you watching my video, you might want to clip off my shit. But yeah, of course, because Allen already told that, yeah, you was the last hoe to see her, so of course you're going to be questioned. And because Candy is a retarded psychopath, she rehearsed her statement word from word, A to Z. Word from word, A to Z. Like, she got this shit rehearsed, right? And so the detective pretty much asked her, and because she a white woman, back in the 70s, you know, white woman can't do no wrong, white woman syndrome, tears, oh, that off top can't be lying. This all goes into this shit, okay? Not saying that that's what's going to get her off scot-free, but it just shows that, like, they gave her lenient. Like, she can come down and bring herself down to the precinct. Let these folk would even thought an inkling of a nigga, they going to the house and jacking your ass up. Ain't no you can bring yourself down nowhere. But I digress. I'm not gonna get off topic. Back to Candy and her bullshit. So she goes down to the precinct, and for me, it feels like it's so like it's so rehearsed, her whole story. Like, she has, granted, she's telling it how it happened up until the point where this bitch pulled his axe out. Like, if she would have told what happened, like, when that shit happened, afterward, when you killed her and called her, hey, y'all, self-defense, this bitch tried jumping me, I had to kill her, it would have been different. But you went home, showered, made your alibi, and so no one gives a fuck. So, but in this interview with the detectives and whatnot, she pretty much passed it. She tells them word for word what happened, and she's very detailed. They was like, so what was she sewing? She said, oh, she was sewing a pink and blue, orange sweater. I'm not sure what color that was on the outline of the stitch. Yeah, that's what she was doing. So yeah, you definitely rehearsed this. And so they asked her for the last thing. They said, what kind of shoes were you wearing? Because we found some footprints. We want to make sure what the fuck. She told me I wanted some blue shoes, bitch, you was wearing flip-flops. But if y'all seen, she cut to the scene on the phone with, I'm assuming, best friend Sherry, and she was cutting up the flip-flops to get rid of the evidence. Because she knows, like, you ain't that fucking dumb. You know that your ass on the last leg. Okay, Candy? So, number 5 for me is Allen tells the detective about the affair with Candy. Because, of course, we know Allen was out of town, right, when the shit happened. But when he did come back in town, first thing first, they said, come on down to the precinct, little just a buddy. We want to talk to you. Allen ain't got shit to hide because he didn't kill his wife. But he's talking and whatnot, and they asked him, they said, do you know anybody that would be willing to hurt Betty? Like, who would want to hurt her? He's like, nobody. Like, that bitch, I mean, she ain't got no friends. But, like, nobody want to fucking end her. Like, that's not even, like, for real, like. And so the detective was like, okay, has she ever had an affair? He was like, yeah, about 10 years ago with one of them students, but then that shit ended, and then what? And they was like, okay, have you? He's like, no. I don't know why he lied right then about the affair, because I wouldn't have lied. I would have said, yeah, I did, and what? But he did lie. But then, of course, because Allen is so fucking cookie cutter, he's a fucking cookie cutter, straight to the point. He doesn't do anything wrong. He's that type of nigga y'all want for basic ass people, right? He calls the detective up at 3 a.m. He's like, I lied about something. The detective was like, okay, go ahead. I thought the detective was gonna be like, I thought the detective was pretty much thinking like, oh, you killed that bitch, tell me more. But then when he hears like, yeah, I lied. I did have an affair with Candy Montgomery. The detective was like, oh, because even if I thought you was gonna confess and you came with that details, I'd be like, oh, thank you, friend. Have a good night. Go on to lay on down. We're gonna figure this out. But that was definitely the top 5 moment for me. That was top 5. Okay. And I'm trying to figure out, do we have a feeling now that Candy may have killed his wife? Like, I just wonder, like, what was going through his actual head as the shit was going on. As I said previously, comment down below if you guys feel like my top 5 ain't shit. I'm missing some. Say it below so we can all have some words, but friendly. And with that being said, talk to you guys later. Bye.